One of the books that I encourage people to read is an amazing book, probably in the top 10 best books I've ever read. I've read it many times. It's very few books that hold my interest where I'll read it like 10 times or listen to it. I mean, get it on my phone and listen to it. But it's a profound book on so many different levels. Very simple book. It's called God's Smuggler, written by a guy named Brother Andrews. And it's John and Elizabeth Sherrill who are the authors of this book. Anything written by John and Elizabeth Sherrill, you're in for a treat. They were in on the 1960s. They were part of some of the best stories ever captured in print. And I just recommend anything that, and they were in search of the Lord. And so every book that they wrote changed their life because they got to meet people like Corrie ten Boom and Brother Andrew and David Wilkerson and Dima Shakarian and different people who really shaped their whole journey. And it's amazing. But God's Smuggler is about a Dutchman who, from a child, had this risk-taking aspect of his nature. And he would throw wooden shoes in Holland at the Nazis and run away and hide. And he loved risk and loved danger, even as a little boy. And later on, he gets born again and knows that God has a purpose. And it's a great book about seeking the Lord and coming into your purpose. I think one of the reasons I love the book is we find out that God tailor-made a ministry specifically for him that never existed before. Nobody was smuggling Bibles behind the Iron Curtain until Andrew did it. And it took that kind of all his background, the way he was built, all that came to the fore. His love of adventure, all that was employed. And he started doing something that nobody else was doing. And I as I read that, I realized the God who made snowflakes, and there's no two snowflakes alike, and there's no two leaves alike, and no two blades of grass alike, and no two acorns alike. They're all completely different. No two people are alike. No two eyeballs are alike. We all have eyeballs, but none of them are exactly alike. They're completely unique. Your eyeball, if you looked at it through the right camera, is unique to you. No one else has the same eyeball. And the God who did that, he could call you to be an evangelist or a pastor, but with the way he uses grace, you would be a unique pastor that there's no other pastor like you. There's no other evangelist like you. It could be tailor-made to you. Or it could be a ministry that has never existed before. There's a guy named Bill Wilson, and when Bill was a boy, his dad had abandoned the family, and the mother couldn't feed him. And so she took him to an underpass down in Florida, and she got him out of the car and said, "Now wait here, and I'll come back to get you." And so she left, and he waited there, and she never came back. And he was standing there for about 3 days when this Christian man was driving by every day and saw this kid standing under the underpass every day. No food, no water, just the shade of the underpass. Finally, the Christian man stopped and picked the boy up, and that day there was a Christian camp meeting. And he took the boy to the camp meeting, and he heard the gospel for the first time and went forward to receive Jesus as a little kid. He said, I stunk so bad that nobody wanted to pray for me. But Jesus met him there and changed his life. And so when he became older, his passion was to get kids and take them to Sunday school. So he'd fill up his car with as many kids from the neighborhood as he could, and he'd drive them to Sunday school. And then he needed a bigger car, so God gave him a bigger car, then gave him a van, and then I think he had 2 vans, and he's getting other people excited about taking kids to Sunday school, and he would take hundreds of kids to Sunday school. Then somehow he got a school bus, and then he got another school bus, and then he got thousands of school buses, and he has the biggest Sunday school ministry in the world. And it all started in New York City, where he has bus garages, and he has teams, a staff of hundreds of people, all just collecting kids and taking them to Sunday school. And then they have their own Sunday school program, which is over the top, amazing. And then people would come from Brazil, and they'd say, "Show us how did you do this?" And he just said, "Well, God will show you." He showed me, and they'll go down to Brazil, and they'll start a Sunday school program with thousands and thousands of kids going to see Jesus. Plus, those kids, that not only does he take them to Sunday school, they get a personal visit once a week from a volunteer who loves the ministry. I just think it's so exciting. I mean, it's a tailor-made ministry that came out of his own need and condition. I think God could give you vision for ministry that doesn't exist today. But the book of God's Smuggler convinced me that there doesn't have to be 2 ministries alike, that you're unique, and how God will use you will be tailor-made. I encourage you to get that book and read it. It's a tremendous book about provision. It's a tremendous book about hearing the voice of God. It's a tremendous book on grace. It's a tremendous book on evangelism. I mean, it's just a great book on so many levels. I would highly recommend you get that into your knower and into your library. Amen.